Let's now move on and shift our focus to another big story that we are getting for you right now. What we have learned from sources is that Indian officials are likely to monitor Boeing fuel switch test tied to Air India London incident. This is the latest update that we are getting for you. What we have learned is that Indian air safety officials are planning to travel to Seattle to observe Boeing's testing of a fuel control switch panel that was removed from an Air India 787 in February after the pilots on a London-Bengaluru flight flagged a possible defect. Let's straight away go across to my colleague Madhav, joining us live right now for more on this. Madhav, this is a huge development.
Well, absolutely. In fact, what is very significant is that, at that point of time, Times Now had broken the story on this London-Bengaluru flight. And, the big issue was that whether the fuel switches could physically move on their own. And the clarification that later came in is that the fuel switches were not properly used. And therefore, there is no serious issue. And therefore, the entire report at that point of time was sought to be underplayed by the authorities. Now we are being told that DGCA will be traveling to Seattle. And when the entire fuel switches themselves are tested, the DGCA officials would be present at that point of time. Now, this is a hugely sensitive issue because the entire issue of whether the crash that took place in Ahmedabad on a similar 787 aircraft was due to some kind of human error or technical error. That's the big question. Even as AIB's report is yet to come out, the final report which will give us more insight into what actually happened in that particular cockpit, even before that particular report has come out. Now, of course, we have this situation where the role of those fuel switches comes under the scanner once again. The DGCA, therefore, traveling to Seattle becomes that much more important. And while FAA, which is, of course, the American aviation regulator, had, sought to also underplay the role of those switches are concerned, what will this really reveal in terms of the role of those switches? Remember, multiple occasions in the past, similar fuel switches of Boeing have come under the scanner for possible technical defects. Whether those technical defects still continue when it comes to the Boeing 787, of course, remains an open question. And once again, with, in fact, it is now being confirmed that the DGCA will have to travel. Clearly, of course, important aspects of this. In fact, my colleague Shefali also has spoken to Air India, and let me quickly get in Shefali on that. Shefali, what does Air India have to say as far as this development is concerned?
Right, somewhere Air India has confirmed the reports, and let me read out the statement for the viewers for better understanding. Air India says that the module had already been confirmed as fully functional by both the OEM and the DGCA. The decision to proceed with further review and testing is understood to be intended to ensure a thorough and conclusive evaluation of the component as a measure of abundant caution. This additional step involves examination in a controlled laboratory environment to definitely confirms its performance and integrity. We fully support the process. So whereas in Air India's statement, it confirms the reports, not just that, although we are trying to reach out to DGCA as well for its statements, so far nothing has come out. But what we are learning is that officials from DGCA and Air India both will be traveling when the test will be conducted. Although DGCA has not given any statement, but this is what we are learning through our sources.
All right. Thank you very much, Madhav, as well as Shefali. Appreciate you joining us with those details. With this, we will slip into a very, very short break. Coming back with lots more. Stay with us.